What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin, coming to you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the box office once again. So this past week or two, we really haven't had a whole lot of crazy big movies come out. You know, the Meg is still doing very, very well. It's actually at the point now where after this weekend, it will have surpassed Solo's entire box office run, which again tells you a lot about Solo and also a lot about what the Meg's been able to do in lieu of that. And also it's up to like $117 million just in China alone. So once again, we see movies can perform well in China, and some people are trying to say, oh, well, it's because there's a Chinese production company that was a part of it, or sometimes there's some kind of connection. But I've pointed out in previous videos that there are other films that did not have that same connection that were still able to do very well in China, or at least do progressively well in China if there was a series of films. So it does not explain what the current situation is right now. But right now in America, we have something very special going on. We have this movie, Crazy Rich Asians. I have not seen it yet. I totally plan on seeing it, though, because as you can see, it's got not only the high ratings from the critics, but it also has a high audience rating as well. And as I always say, you want to look at both scores together, because the critics tell you it's a well-made film, while the audience tell you, is it worth your time? Is it worth seeing? Is it entertaining? Is it, again, something that you actually want to see in theaters? Which it looks like, based on the ratings, it seems to be that kind of film. Now, we've been hearing a lot of things about this, obviously, that it's a very good romantic comedy, and as a guy that is, very prone to liking romantic comedies, I'm probably going to like it a lot. But it's also gotten a lot of attention because everyone's focusing on the fact that, oh my goodness, the entire cast is Asian, which, as I've said this constantly before, most people don't care about. All they care about is this going to be a good film that is going to be entertaining? And it looks like that is what's going on. People aren't going to see this movie because, oh my goodness, it's an all-Asian cast. I have to see it because it's all-Asian cast. And if that's the reason why you're going to a movie, you might need to look back into yourself, because if you're going to see a movie, if you're choosing to see a movie just based on identity politics, that is just, again, just think about that for a second. But even the critics' consensus, because obviously Rotten Tomatoes is still, even when it seems to be doing something well, it still is able to just, throw things off the rails. So as it says, critics' consensus, it says, with a terrific cast and a surfeit of visual razzle-dazzle, Crazy Rich Asians takes a satisfying step forward for screen representation, while definitely drawing inspiration from the classic and still effective rom-com formula. So it has to throw that in there. It has to say screen representation. But here's the main thing. Why is this film doing well? Is it because of screen representation? No. It's because it's a good, as it says, it follows the formulaic rom-com formula. But guess what happens? That is a good, and as it says, an effective formula when it is executed well. Of course, we know rom-coms that don't do very well, but this is obviously one that is. So the problem that I have with this overall view, again, even though I have not seen the film yet, is that based on all the reviews, based on everything that I've seen, everything that I've read about it, this film does not dive into identity politics. This film is just a film. It is just a good story, and it doesn't focus on all those other things. And this is, again, another situation where the media around it and the critics around it are trying to make it political, saying, oh my goodness, look what's going on. There's Asians on screen. Oh my God. Okay, well, there are people on screen, there are actors on screen, they're portraying characters, and it's apparently a very good story. That is how anyone who is actually just living in reality, living in the real world, will look at this film. And guess what? It is doing pretty well. Now, again, the way that the media would portray it, saying, oh my God, this is a huge blockbuster film. Okay, it's not that, but it is doing well. I mean, don't get me wrong, this film is doing very well. So as you can see right now, worldwide it's made $60 million, which a lot of people might say, that's not a lot of money. But for a production budget of $30 million, which means that it costs around $45 to make, because remember, about half of the production budget is what the marketing cost usually is, means it costs about $45 million. It gets about 60% of that $60 million. So you're looking at this film already at the point where it's making a profit, and that's not even when we have the weekend totals for this past weekend, which are pretty good. This is, again, going to be the #1 movie at the box office, and it makes, again, a lot of sense, at least for the domestic box office, because of the fact that it is a good movie. And that is where our focus needs to be. Good movies can make money. Good movies can turn a profit. The problem is that we have a Hollywood system that is churning out not only identity politics films, but also really bad films as well, which is why I wanted to talk about the other film that is coming out this weekend, or that came out this weekend, and has just done terribly for obvious reasons, and that is the Happy Time Murders. And so this is the reason why I was kind of excited for this film at first, because I was like, oh my goodness, they're using puppets. Brian Henson, of course, relative of the well-known Jim Henson. So I was excited for this, but then also at the same time I was looking at it saying, okay, this is reminding me a lot of another film that was really, really bad, but also was marketed well, where it looked like it was going to be very, very funny, but then it ended up not being. That was Sausage Party. Sausage Party was total trash. Sausage Party was total garbage. The jokes were bad. The jokes were just so stupid. This seems to be just like that, where it's just trying to get that kind of shock value of, oh my goodness, it's the Muppets, it's the puppet, it's the puppet Muppets, and they are saying terrible things and doing things and murder and sex and everything like that. Okay, that by itself does not sell, though. Just because you have a creative idea does not mean that you can just let that idea drive your story forward, and does not mean that people are actually going to end up seeing it. Again, I looked at the cinema score for this and it's a C-. That is awful. Cinema scores are usually very good. Even bad made movies still get at least a B plus at the box office. I mean, at the cinema score. Even The Last Jedi got a good cinema score. I don't know how, but it somehow did. But when you look at the Happy Time Murders, what you see here is you see once again the case where Hollywood is trying to use a concept and let the concept be the thing that drives forward. Again, we've seen this with Star Wars. You throw Star Wars in the title, boom, you think it's going to make money. No, if it's not a good film, if you don't have a good quality film, good quality product to back it up, it's not going to make money. Happy Time Murders is another great example of that, where you have a concept that might look good on paper, but again, it does not have the execution. It does not have, it does not have the good writing. And also, I'm sorry, but as much as I like some of these actors, these people are just doing the same thing over and over again. Melissa McCarthy, she's done the same thing so many times. I love when she does things that are against character, against type, because they're really good, because she's a very, very talented actress. Elizabeth Banks, I've never really found her that funny. I mean, she's okay in the roles that she plays, but overall, I've never really understood why people think of her as some kind of comedic genius. Maya Rudolph, same thing. I mean, she was funny on SNL, but ever since then, she's kind of chosen roles that have never made sense. And then Joe McHale, I mean, Community, first couple seasons was really great, but then he, again, fell into that same monotonous role. So again, this is another movie that I have not seen, but as you can see, it was made for $40 million, and the estimate as of the 24th was about $3.95 million, and just based off the total box office for the weekend, it looks like this is probably going to be close to $10-11 million for the weekend, which is a really bad opening for a movie that is probably not going to make much more than that. This is a movie that might actually, by the end of its run, lose money. When you have that kind of a tepid opening and also that bad word of mouth, you're already off to a bad start. You're not going to get a lot of people to go out and see it. Now, there might be some people, especially the teenage crowd, even though this is a radar film, these are the kind of films that teenagers will try and sneak into. The teenagers will try and, buy another ticket for to go see it instead. But guess what happens? They buy another ticket to another film, and they don't get this money. So it just tells you a lot about why these films just don't end up working, because what they do is they try and gear themselves towards that lowest common denominator. But the problem is that you can't do that. Maybe there was a time when you could do that. But in today's Hollywood, people are not willing to leave their homes to go to the theater. I talked about this on my own channel, about my own experience when I saw The Incredibles. I was dealing with a group of teenage kids who came in 10 minutes late to the film and were talking, playing on their phones, eating very loudly, had pretty much bought everything from the concession stand, were leaving, going back and forth, not even watching the damn film, and talking on top of that. And so what you have is that going on at the theater, so people are going to be very wise and very selective in what movies they go to see. So if you're not going to provide a quality product, guess what? People aren't going to see the movie. That's what seems to be happening with The Happy Time, and also that's the reason why Crazy Rich Asians seems to be doing well. Why? Because it's a well-made film. It has nothing to do with the people involved. It has nothing to do with the race or the gender of the people involved. It has everything to do with, is it a good film? Is it going to get good word of mouth? This film has gotten great word of mouth. This film is doing very well. And again, this is a film that I might even go see it today. I plan on seeing this film because of that reason. Again, I just get so sick and tired of people trying to always throw some stupid, silly reason as to why a film is doing well, when if you just step back for a second and look at the reality situation, you have a well-made film here and a terribly made film here. And again, we can look to 94, 91%, Happy Time Murders, 22, 52%. So as you can see, critics obviously saying this is a terribly made film, and then the audience score, 52%, is awful, especially for this kind of a comedy. It is awful. So this film is not going to make a whole lot of money. Crazy Rich Asians is going to make money, but it's not going to be this huge blockbuster that people are trying to say that it is. So again, if you ever read any commentary, if you ever read anything about saying, oh my God, Crazy Rich Asians, make sure you understand that what's actually going on is it's a low-budget film that's doing very well because it's following a formula and it's telling a story that people are being able to connect to. Not because of the race or gender of the characters, but because it's, again, following that traditional rom-com story, but it's doing so effectively and it's doing it well. And so, therefore, this is a film that is going to make a profit off of its money. You could possibly see them again because, of course, studios these days love nothing more. We got Warner Brothers here, who's a distributor, love nothing more than to try and make sequels. So if this does well enough, which it looks like it will, since it's already starting to make profit, you're probably going to see this turn into a sequel or turn into some kind of franchise. I really hope that doesn't happen because we have way too much of that in Hollywood today. We need more original stories. We need just better products, and that's why I mentioned this too in my on my channel on Owen's Movie Blog, that I feel like short films are doing this very well, where you see more original stories told in short films in 8 to 15 minutes, and a lot of times those films don't even have any dialogue in them whatsoever than you see in a lot of these big budget films. Crazy Rich Asians is obviously doing something very well, while the Happy Time Murders is not. The Happy Time Murders is just, again, trying to gear themselves toward that lower to common denominator, and films like that just can't survive. It used to be the time when even those films with those kind of ratings could at least break even. Now it's looking like this kind of film no longer can do that because, as I said, people are not willing to leave their house to go to the theater to deal with possible audience craziness, to deal with possible projector issues, all these other things that can happen at the theater for a movie that is not going to be giving them what they want. People would rather wait for this to come out on Netflix and then crap on it then, or just say, oh yeah, it was fine for a Netflix movie, but I would never actually go out and buy it. Again, that's pretty much what we have today. But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts on this? Are you planning on seeing the Happy Time Murders? Is it good? Crazy Rich Asians, are you planning on seeing this? Is it any good? Please let us know in the comments below. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, give us your own thoughts about the current state of film. Do you think that this is a film that is reaching out and is successful because of identity politics? Or do you think, like me and probably most other people, that it is doing well because it's probably a well-written story with great actors and it's following a formula that most people tend to like? Again, obviously you can see that. It's not going to make massive money at the box office, but it's going to make enough to turn a profit, which is, again, always a good thing for any film production company. But anyway, guys, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. And also, have a great day. And as always, and from me and the Geeks and Gamers team, God bless. Have a good one, guys.